I love performing with my dad. He's my greatest musical influence, and I'm so happy that I had my mom and my dad in the audience to share this special moment. When I spoke to Shankar sir after the audio launch, he was also extremely sweet. So it goes to show that everyone, they reach such heights, but they're still so encouraging of new talents, and they're so sweet. Maybe that's why they are at the level that they are. With Anirudh, my biggest takeaway was just the amount of creative, the creative positive energy that he exhibits. That's the greatest thing. He is such a skilled musician. When he was teaching me the song on the piano and all, I could see his ideas and his vision. I have my own method of presenting music, like I make it a little bit more everyday, that kind of a thing. I'm not a classical performer. Like I don't do classical concerts. I don't do Hindustani or Carnatic concerts. I used to, not anymore. So my shows, I do a lot of concerts, but my shows are more of fusion and my own songs and the pop songs. But the theme of it will all be classical music.
Welcome to Cinema Express. My name is Srijit Mullapulli. I'm here to talk to Abby V, the music sensation, who's here to talk to us about his latest song in Indian too, and his career and his music journey. Hi Abby, welcome.
Hi Srijit, happy to be here and
Yeah,
happy to talk
and
to News Indian Express.
Yeah, congratulations on Indian too.
Thank
the
you,
song.
thank you so much. Thank you.
It's getting great response already.
Yes, absolutely.
And you performed the song at Nehru Stadium also, right?
That's right, at the launch.
How was it like performing in front of 10,000 people or something?
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. I mean, I performed. I do a lot of live shows, so performing in front of thousands of people is always, such an incredible experience. But this time it was much more special. The reason being, you were performing also in front of such legends of South India. You had Kamal sir, you had Shankar sir, you had Anirudh, and the entire team of Indian 2 that was there. Of course, besides that, my parents also came, so I invited my parents for this. And of course, this first time I'm presenting my own song, which we've worked on for months now. It's like our baby that we're presenting in front of the world, in front of thousands of people. So that was a very beautiful experience.
I've read somewhere that you did your first live stage performance with your dad.
That's right. I did,
and here we are after all these years. You're performing and your dad is in the audience.
That's right.
It's like coming full circle for you.
Yeah.
Life is coming full circle.
In a way, I mean, my dad has always been performing, and he used to take me along with him. And one day I said, I'm also going to start singing. So I was 8 or 9 years old. So I started doing one performance and stuff like that. Now we do a lot of shows together where there's a special feature, which is a dad and son feature that we do. And he performs as a special act in my shows. So like you said, it is like a nice full circle moment kind of a thing. And I love performing with my dad. He's my greatest musical influence. And I'm so happy that I had my mom and my dad in the audience to share this special moment with me.
Was it different because did it create a different kind of energy? Were you excited and nervous at the same time because your parents were there?
Absolutely. I think because my parents were there, I think they come to a lot of my performances.
Oh, all right.
So I'm pretty relaxed performing in front of them. But this experience was definitely, like you said, it was a combination of nervousness, excitement, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of, this, of course, so much gratitude and so many of these mixed emotions. But I think I tried to soak in every minute as I could. I didn't want to get nervousness take the best out of me. And, sometimes when you're too nervous, you forget to live the moment a little bit.
Yeah.
You just want to get through it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to really live it. And I tried to soak up every minute because it's a beautiful, precious memory that I'm going to have with my life.
Nice.
All, my entire existence.
So when you perform in front of a live audience, this is a melody, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of musicians have told me that when you perform in front of a live audience, there's a slight different kind of synergy you bring into it.
Yeah.
So did you do anything different there compared to the studio recording?
Yeah. I mean, studio recording versus live performance is a whole different ball game. Studio, because you are able to take different takes. You can if one line didn't come out the way that you wanted, you can always try again. And it's much more intimate also. It's just you and the other engineers and the musician, like the music director. In this case, Anirudh and I were the only two people in the room recording. So it's a nice collaborative energy. Whereas in a performance, you're like the Raja at that moment. You're the king. So you have to own it. and you have to make sure that every not only are you singing at the top of your ability, but also performing. You're also engaging with the audience and all that stuff. So, but I love it. I love performing because I've done it since I was a child, and I love the exchange that I get with musical ideas with the audience when they respond beautifully to my performance. It's a whole different high. So I love
Okay,
it.
okay. So you mentioned doing these collabs with your father, right?
Yes, yeah,
And you've done a lot of collabs with some of the famous musicians in India also.
yeah.
One of them is K.S. Chitra,
Yes, yes, of
the
course, of course.
Nightingale of Kerala.
Yes, yeah. Of India in
Yeah,
general.
India in general, no doubt. And did that kind of help you kind of shake off that, you will have that awe when you see a stage, and you said you saw all these legends, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Kamal
yes.
and
Yeah.
Shankar and all those people.
Yes, yes.
Did those collabs help you in a way shake off that kind of aura?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because these collabs with these senior musicians, they taught me that even though, I mean, someone like Chitrama, she's such a legendary singer musician. She is she's one of the most iconic singers India has ever produced.
Yeah, yeah.
And she is so humble when she's like she treats me like family, and she sits with me, she eats with me, and she's invited me home for like Onam dinner and all that stuff, because she knew I was here by myself. So when someone like that could be so humble, then you think, okay, you think so positively about the whole industry, and everyone is like that. I can speak, I mean, when I spoke to Shankar sir after the audio launch, he was also extremely sweet. So it goes to show that everyone, they reach such heights, but they're still so encouraging of new talents, and they're so sweet. Maybe that's why they are at the level that they are, because
Yeah,
they're wonderful human
true,
beings.
true.
Yeah,
So Indian Tevu is one of the biggest part, I could say one of the highlights of your journey.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
probably it all started with the 73 ragas thing you
Yes,
did, right?
yes, yeah.
Can you take us through that? I still remember seeing that video where you're singing one raga
Yes,
after the other,
yes.
and you're doing it on cue. What kind of preparation does that entail?
Preparation, actually, not so much, because I've grown up with that kind of an environment. I really like switching ragas and all that stuff. I thought when I was a child, my dad used to play games like this with us.
Hmm.
He would play games of like identifying ragas. So for instance, he would sing um, a raga like Maga Madani Dari Zani Dani Zani Da Maga Madani Sani Da, and then he'd say, "What song do you know in this raga?" Then I think and think, and finally I'd say, "Oh, மின்சார பூவே பெண் பூவே மெய் தீண்ட வேண்டும் என்னோடு வாராய் என் ஆசையோசை கேளாய்." It's the same raga, Vasanta, or based off of Vasanta. So, um, so on and so forth. A lot of different ragas were introduced to me through fun and games, through Bollywood songs and all. And then when I started learning music seriously, I used to tell my dad that, I think you should quiz me just like this. So just like how you saw in the 73 ragas, he would quiz me. So he would say, Kapi, okay, Neelambari, Kalyani, Bhairavi, Shankarabharanam. So he would give me these prompts and I'd sing it, because I remember a lot of my teachers used to say, if you've learned a big, like the whole course, and if you can condense the subject matter into a couple of sentences, like a few sentences, and if you can even narrate that to a child or someone who doesn't know much about the course, that means you've really imbibed the material. So that stuck with me. So I thought, what, if I know a raga, like I can sing a raga for like 10, 20 minutes.
Oh,
But I think sometimes the challenge is also if you can condense it in like a few seconds. If you just give me a raga right now and I can show you that this is Kalyani and no other raga, that means I really understood the raga. Because I can take forever to expand a raga. That's, of course, you can keep going on and on, there's no end. But if you can really condense it a little bit, so that's what I try to do with the video, and that's all the greatness of my gurus who've taught me such brilliant music and all the music that I've heard. So the idea for the video was very simple. I just thought, something that I've been doing my whole life, let me put that out as a video.
oh,
And
nice.
I'm so fortunate that it ended up doing really well.
The difference between some ragas, for someone who's not that
Yeah,
well versed in music, like myself,
yeah,
the difference is very subtle.
yes,
But
yes, yes,
between some other ragas, it's very stark.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
which one is more challenging to shift, make that shift? The stark one or the subtle one?
I think any like you can't really say, because sometimes like for instance Mukhari and Bhairavi, these are two ragas which some people might say are very close. But to me, I love both Mukhari and Bhairavi. So if you ask me, I can sing it like this, and so many other musicians also. But then maybe there's a raga that I don't know, I don't relate to as much. And there are ragas like that. Like for instance, Tilakamu. I don't relate to it as much because there are some other ragas that I think, attract me more. So if you ask me to sing Tilakamu, I'll take a second to actually think about it. And okay, yeah, this is how good it goes. So it all depends on your relationship with the raga also. I think that's what really matters. For me, like 98% of the ragas I have a deep association with. Like I have some memory attached to it. Because I had a very beautiful journey of discovering ragas. Every raga has its own story with me. The way I discovered Jana Ranjani, the way I discovered God Malhar, the way I discovered Shri. So every raga has been etched in my mind that way. And if I don't have that story with the raga, maybe I wouldn't be able to know it as much. So Tilakam is one of those ragas. I don't yet have a personal connection with it.
So
hopefully soon.
So you underwent some training to.
It was a personal journey.
For all the 73 ragas?
No. It's all a personal journey. Like as in, I discovered the ragas by recordings or by going to concerts and all. So I would find out that there's a new raga called Vagadishwari. So I'd be like, hey, this raga sounds kind of cool. Let me find out, and I would listen.
You listen to it and listen to it, and it will get into your system.
Yeah, it gets seeped in.
So it kind of reminds me something that graphic designers often tell. If you want to get an idea about a picture or editing, just go to Pinterest, look at pictures for a while.
That's right.
If you keep doing that, you will get a hang of it.
That's true.
Is that the same with music also?
Absolutely, it can definitely be. I mean, there's no other, no better teacher than brilliant fascination and love for it, right? If you love something, you automatically want to know everything about it. So I started falling in love with classical music. I didn't get the opportunity to really go to class as much and learn from a guru for consistent number of years. Because I was in Toronto, I grew up in Canada. So because of that, I would only get the opportunity to learn directly face to face from a guru, maybe during the summer months, maybe 2 months or something. And that's if I could come to India or if my gurus were in Canada, which did happen, but not very frequently. Whereas other singers have, if you grow up in Chennai or Mumbai, you have access to weekly classes. That's a great advantage, but I don't think that stopped me because my love for music was too strong. It was way too strong. So I didn't wait for the summer months to get accustomed to more ragas or more talas or something. I would listen to music day in and out. YouTube was my best friend. YouTube and all these other like all the streaming platforms. I have heard so much music, especially during those high school years. So much music that all of the ragas, I think about 90% of the ragas that I sing today have come from that journey of that personal, like I find out, oh, there's a new raga called Janasa Mohini or something like that, and I'd find out what it is, and it's so beautiful. I'd start listening to more of it, and that would go on for a week. Then the next week I would learn Kannada. And then, the week after that would be Sahana. So, like, every week would just organically be me falling in love with the raga, getting into a relationship with the raga, and then on to the next raga, that kind of thing.
Did you ever wonder, will that kind of habit will make you into there's this thing, master of all trades?
Jack of none?
Did you ever worry?
Sorry, Jack of
all trades? Master of none.
I think I am like that. I am pretty much. I dabble in a lot of things. My attention span is very limited. I get bored very easily. So I'll do this and then I'll be on to the next one. But then I don't forget. So I have built a very strong, deep relationship, as I said. So I come back to it, of course. So like for instance, when I was growing up, Hamza Nandi was a very favorite raga of mine, and because of this song called Kuhu Kuhu Bole Koelia. Sare ga ma da ni sa ni da ma ga ma ga re sa kuhu kuhu bole koelia, and then that song has beautiful all that stuff, so I was so fascinated by it. And then Hamza Nandi, after a few months or years, I said, not feeling it anymore, and I had to break up with that raga, then move on to the next raga. But then now I go back to Hamza Nandi and I'm like, wow, brilliant raga it is. So I never forget the association that I've had with the raga. To answer your question specifically, would I? But I don't think that's an issue. Everything is like that. You have your periods of deep infatuation, deep connection, and you fall out of it a little bit. That's also good because then you get a different perspective on that same thing. Then you come back to it. Then it's like that's just a journey of of your art.
Mm.
And that's what keeps me going. I love doing different things.
So you said you was in so much love with music, right?
Yeah.
It reflects on your Instagram content.
Yeah. Correct.
So I like the way you integrated music into the mundanity of life.
That's right.
Sometimes you are cooking a dosa and singing.
That's right. That's
You are
right.
in a flight and singing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Does it occur to you? Is it like always there's a song playing in your mind?
Completely. In fact, even right before this, I was speaking to someone else, and that's exactly what I was saying. That music is always there. It's not that I create the content for Instagram or something. It just so happens that I'm singing and I'm like, oh, maybe we should record this. Okay, quickly we'll just record it. That kind of a thing. Because we're always I'm always singing. I'm humming something. There's a beat running in my mind, or maybe I'm composing something, or I'm thinking about a new raga. That always happens, and I'm just so fortunate that I have the resources to quickly record something, and people also really enjoy it. And I think that's how music should be,
Yeah,
I don't think,
absolutely.
and especially classical music, a lot of people have this idea that classical music is very formal and it's very, it's restricted, and there's a barrier to, appreciating it or even getting into it. That's not true, because for me, ragas are everywhere. You listen to some of the greatest hits in film music. So many of them are raga based. Rahman sir's, so many of his compositions are brilliant raga based songs. So, and everyone enjoys them, So
Can you tell us some of your favorite Rahman
sir songs? Yeah, absolutely. The raga based ones. I mean, every song of his is a favorite. But some of like Saukyama Kanne Man. Saukyama Kanne Saukyama Saukyama Kanne Saukyama Saukyama Gamadani Sadani Sagamare Ni Sadagamare Sa Man. And then Minsara Kanai sang Vasanta. Then even like recently, I heard Emallipu vichu vaadure and vali nila vandu thedure machan pora machan pora Bhairavi Sagamada Pagarini Sargare Sa is Bhairavi. So I don't know if he composes it with the raga in mind or it just happens magically because he's a brilliant musician that way. But yeah, so many of these ragas.
What was your biggest takeaway from your experience working with Anirudh for Indian?
With Anirudh, my biggest takeaway was just the amount of creative, the creative positive energy that he exhibits. That's the greatest thing. He is such a skilled musician. When he was teaching me the song on the piano and all, I could see his ideas and his vision. But he's so it's such a beautiful creative partnership with Anirudh, and I've heard this from other singers as well. He makes you seem like you're so important to the song, and you are such a gifted talent who's just been brought into the song. It's not like he's the composer and he's giving you the song, that kind of a thing. It's more like, hey, let's see where it goes. Let's see what we can do with this and how we can take it to a whole different level. That's the greatest thing, because he is an absolute superstar, right? He's a pop star. He is like on the fame front, he is like up there. As a musician, equally up there. Brilliant musician. But the way that he makes you sort of get involved with the project, that's something that I really get inspired by. He's a brilliant person to work with.
Nice. Yeah, so I have a couple of philosophical questions to end this conversation. So apart from bringing you all the fame, the success, and everything else that comes with it, how else do you think music has impacted you as a person, maybe?
Music has always been, a comfort place. It's a safe space. Like you also mentioned, every time I'm singing or I'm listening to music, it just feels like I'm in control, and there's something that's very peaceful running in my mind, and that's that peace and that satisfaction is what I seek every time I sing or I listen to music. Whether I'm listening to a beautiful Carnatic concert or a Hindustani concert, or a Rahman sir piece, or an Anirudh song, even a song like Kavala, for instance, it gives me a lot of peace actually, even though it's like such a dance number. But that peace, I can't really describe it. It gives me a lot of peace when I listen to it, when it's good work, and there's something so genuine about it. I mean, a song like, even like our song Neelorpam, I know the kind of hard work that's gone into it because I'm part of the music making business now. I know how much thought, and I'm not speaking as a, the business aspect of it. I'm talking about the creative aspect of it. There's so much thought that goes behind every second of a song that's created, every single second. So the mixing, the lyrics, the vocal texture, and the instrumentation, the production. So when it turns out beautifully as this beautiful baby that's in front of you, whether I'm a part of it or whether I'm a consumer of that content, it gives me a lot of happiness. And if it somewhere just there's some soul in it and it touches me, that gives me a lot of peace. So I think peace and comfort is what I would say is what music has given me the most.
Nice, nice. There's this famous Malayalam line where Mohanlal says something that literally translates to music is a vast ocean. The more you try to learn it, the more expansive it seems, the more
true.
distant it seems.
Very true, very true.
How do you define music? Does that kind of learning curve,
Yeah.
does it intimidate you, or how do you approach it?
It can, I'm not gonna lie. It can get slightly intimidating sometimes because, like you said, there's always more. There's no like end to it. And then if you feel like okay, about all the major ragas at least, but then now you go into the subdivision. Like okay, there's various schools of thoughts on ragas and or janya ragas, and then once you've done even that, then there's another form of music. And then there's like I love pop music and hip hop and like the evolution of hip hop and all that stuff. So I love how it's there's the Eminem style of hip hop and then there's Post Malone, and then how does all of that evolve? How do new genres come up? So it can slightly get intimidating for sure, and I have been intimidated for sure. Also, growing up in Toronto, I wanted to get into all of this kind of music, but I didn't know which direction to take. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. The most important thing is just keep doing it. Like the Nike slogan, just do it. That is there. That has to be there. Because the moment you sort of let those thoughts creep in, it will creep in for sure. But if you let it in and if you let the execution of your work affect all of that, then it becomes very difficult to keep going on. Because once you let's say for instance even 73 ragas, until the video was uploaded, like even that day when I was uploading, I remember so vividly. I thought, hey, is anyone really gonna watch this?
Seriously?
And yeah, and even my parents said that. My parents are also just like me. They also overthink quite a bit. They're like, you really think people are gonna relate to this? Is one of your first videos ever? You really think ragas? It's just 15 minutes of you singing ragas. There's no question answer. Is it gonna be relatable? And I also thought, is it really relatable? Is it? But then I was like, it's okay. Even if it's not, even if it doesn't work, who cares? I'll move on to the next one. Finally, thank God, I decided. Can you imagine if I hadn't uploaded that video? So I would just say that journey has been. It taught me a lot to just say, you know what, it's okay. I'm gonna go for it. Let's see what happens. If not this, we have.
One of the things I've noticed in your Instagram content is nobody coming and saying auto tuner is working. It's so no. There are some musicians who are famous through Instagram, and the ways they sing, no, it's so good. You can't really believe that they have that kind of talent. And some audiences they come and say, that's it. That's auto tuner.
Correct. That's true.
People think of you as a torchbearer to Gen Z.
That's very sweet.
Of classical music.
Yeah.
You're taking classical music to the Gen Z. How do you see that kind of?
Oh, that's a huge responsibility. I don't think I can take that. I don't think I'm a torchbearer. There are some exceptional musicians who are doing that in the classical forefront.
Oh.
Of course, I have my own method of presenting music. Like I make it a little bit more everyday, that kind of a thing. I'm not a classical performer. Like I don't do classical concerts. I don't do Hindustani or Carnatic concerts. I used to, not anymore. So my shows, I do a lot of concerts, but my shows are more of fusion and my own songs and the pop songs. But the theme of it will all be classical music.
You mentioned pop songs.
Yeah.
So who are you? Right at the top of your head, who are the top 3
pop artists?
Yeah.
Pop Indian or pop Western?
Pop Western, pop any.
I would say, of course, Rahman sir. He's the pop artist of India, I think. What brilliant tunes. Rahman sir, Ani, of course, incredible pop artist. And I would say, I'll take one artist from North America, Ariana Grande. I really like her
Nice,
music. Yeah.
nice. And before we go, can you sing us a couple of lines of?
Neelorpam?
Yes.
Of course, absolutely. This is exclusive for Srijit and for the listeners
Nice.
and viewers of News Indian Express. நீலூர்பம் நீரில் இல்லை ஏன் தாண்டி நாயல்லை இனியேதும் தடங்கள் இல்லை எப்போதும் நெஞ்சில் தொல்லை தூக்கங்களும் இல்லை இதை மீறி புகார்கள் இல்லை நெருங்கி நீ நேரில் முத்தங்கள் தராத போதும் எரிந்திடும் முத்தம் காற்றிலே வந்தாக வேண்டும் தடுக்கி நீ வீழ வேண்டும் என்று கூட ஆசை உண்டுதான் தடுத்து நான் தாங்கிக் கொண்டு தூக்கி செல்ல வேண்டும் இன்றுதான் மாறா மனம் இரண்டும் ஒன்றாய் சேர்ந்ததென்ன தீரா தவிப்புகளும் தானாய் தீர்ந்ததென்ன நீ இன்றி நான் இல்லை. That is Neelorpam
Nice,
for you.
nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Absolutely,
And
Srijit.
all the very best.
Thank you
going
so much.
forward.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure speaking to you, Srijit, and all of the viewers at News Indian Express. Pleasure. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.